listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast about one of the most legendary bands of all time, Deep Purple. We take a look at the music, history, and people behind the band Deep Purple and beyond. Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, the first and only podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 278, Quatermass 2, Long Road. And coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago, where my body is falling apart, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, where my body is falling apart, I'm your co-host, John University Bridge Matola.
University Bridge. I mean, every state has a university, so that's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Which state are we talking about?
Massachusetts.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
I don't know why I'm doing this accent. It's more like a gangster.
University Bridge.
The Boston University. Yeah, Boston
I've
University
driven
Bridge.
over it like 4,000 times and never realized it was called University Bridge.
Well, it's the Boston University, but I didn't want to say Boston because it would
give it away. Unless I was really uninformed on American geography.
Yeah. Well, the Boston University Bridge is one of the only places in the world where a boat can sail under a train, driving under a car, driving under an airplane.
Okay, so it's somehow involved with Logan Airport?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So there's like, all that can happen there.
Okay.
So, hey-oh.
It's also one of the only places where you can drive under a Star Market.
That's true, and I've driven under a Star Market.
I love that. It's just like it's one of the weirdest things. It's just like you're driving on the highway and there's just like they ran out of room for the grocery store. So like, I don't know, build a platform and just put it over the highway. Okay. Like what happened that made it so that was the outcome? Just like having a supermarket just hovered above a highway.
I don't know. I mean, does anything in Boston make sense? I don't know.
No, it doesn't. It's one of my least favorite cities in the world to drive in.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw I can't remember the meme, but it was just like the map of like a map of like New York streets. And they just showed it in a grid system, and they showed a map of Boston, and they were just like, "Fuck you." That's why.
Yeah. It was because fuck you.
Because fuck you.
It's something like New York is laid out in a grid system, so it's very easy to blah blah blah, and it's like Boston because fuck you.
And it just shows it all like, it looks like fucking somebody took silly string and just sprayed it all over.
It looks like a plate of spaghetti.
Yeah, it's not even in a messy one at that. So
and just awful stuff. So my dog has like injured my arm.
Oh,
by like pulling. So now I now have this like belt that I wear that can attach the leash to. But now my back hurts. Oh yeah, that's my story. So yeah, but I think it's almost, it feels like kind of like a good hurt. It feels like an I worked out yesterday hurt. So I'm thinking maybe I'm just getting a good like back exercise from it. Or maybe I'll develop a debilitating back issue, and then I'll long for my elbow pain.
Yeah, I don't think you want to hope for that pain.
No.
I mean, I know you're trying to think positively here, but the back is a mystery.
I'm hoping we'll see soon if that was the issue, but anyway, folks, the Deep Purple Podcast is 100% listener supported and ad-free. So if you receive some value from our show, please consider supporting us and giving us some value back. You can support our show a number of ways. One is by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Haven't gotten any reviews on podcasts, let alone 5-star in quite a while. So please, if you are a patron who's just yet to leave us a review, or a new listener or an old listener, if you haven't written us a review, please write one. Based on the number of listens we have and unique listeners, a very small portion have actually taken the time to write us an Apple Podcast review. So please go ahead and do it. You can buy some merch at our Etsy store, and you can also become a patron on Patreon or on PayPal for as little as $1 a month. So check us out on one of those platforms. You can support us on Cash App at $DPPOD or support us on Ko-fi. So speaking of our patrons coming in at the in memoriam tier, the wonderful late Gerald, Jerry, Kelly, and family. At the $25 uncommon man tier, we have Ovis Nakfi and Purple Maniac. At the 15 squid tier, we have Alan. At the 10-pound good doctor tier, we have Dr. Mike Catan. At the turn it up to $11 tier, we have Clay Wambacher, Frank Thielgard Mortensen, Mikkel Steen, Will Porter, PhDPP, and Michael Bagford. At the $10 Someone Came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans. And Peter from Illinois. And not to be forgotten, at the Hughesoween by 2033 tier, we have Fielding Fowler. All right, folks. So as of the recording of this, in our busy summer and into fall meetup calendar, we have August 15th meetup with Lady Starstruck. That's just 3 days from today as this airs. August 15th, Lady Starstruck, Tampa, Florida, the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Links in the show notes where to get tickets. August 22nd, meetup with Rich, me, John, and Scott Haskin in Detroit, the Michigan Lottery Amphitheater at Freedom Hill, Sterling Heights, Michigan. Link in the show notes where to get tickets. August 23rd, the next night, meet up with us again in Chicago, sort of outside Chicago. Deep Purple at the Credit Union One Amphitheater in Tinley Park. September, Glenn Hughes at the Vixen in McHenry, Illinois. Still undecided of whether I will be going to that because it's a bit of a hike. And there'll be upcoming UK patron meetups and dates to follow.
And the Deep Purple shows. I don't know if it has changed as of now, but possibly the Gardeau and the Roback.
At Chicago?
I think they were talking about Detroit.
Detroit, not Chicago. Okay.
Right. Detroit, but not Chicago. They might do talking about doing a one night stand, flying in, seeing the show, flying out. Serious. I mean, those guys are nuts.
They are. That's why we love them.
Yep.
All right. So speaking of shows, well, I don't know. We should just discuss this on another episode, but as of recording this, you did go see a show, but you're probably not going to give us any spoilers because we might record a special bonus episode review of the show. But do you want anything else we should say, or?
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away because we did see Blackmore's Night, and there was many fun stories from that, which, I don't want to spoil them because it's like, let's just say, like, I was there with all the guys and they're like, hey, John, are we going to do an episode about this? And I'm like, I gotta talk to Nate. So we have to wrangle all of us together.
Yeah, this was supposed to be our last episode we record before our summer break of about 6 weeks, really. We're just, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, honestly,
by the time you hear this, it will have already aired. So you're probably like, oh, that thing that happened 4 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah. But honestly, if we can get something together, like last minute for that, I could be available like the week after I'm back from New Hampshire. But we'll see. But it was it was a fun time. It's always great to see the guys. Like I said, I will reserve stories for possibly the episode you've already heard. If you've already heard them, weren't those funny stories? And that's I could tell you more off air.
Yeah, it's probably too much. Well, I got live text updates last night about it, but it's probably
Yeah.
too much for just a quick 10-minute recap before the episode. So,
Yeah, well,
um,
I will say this though. I mean, like, and like I said, it's I mean, I don't see there not being a recap because, you know, everybody's just, like I said, bursting with stories. But um, I saw it. I'm good. I mean, anybody thinking that I'd be converted or impressed or anything like that, you were wrong. My opinion has not changed.
you're not racing to the next show.
No, no,
Okay.
especially given some of the characters that were there.
Yeah, it's definitely not your scene.
No, it's not. And according to Rich last night was there were way more characters than the night before,
really okay.
like literal characters. So it's
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
dressed up as characters. Well, you know what? If you want to get your fix of that, my family always does a late summer trip to the Ren Fair up here in Wisconsin. So
yeah,
if you want
no,
to come with us to Wisconsin, you can come
no,
join us at the
no,
Ren Fair.
no, get down. No, it's no, I'm not really, I'm not into the whole vibe. I mean, I will say like live, it was it was more, I guess it was more like tolerable like than listening to the album because they, you know, went off on a few more tangents and stuff like that. But in terms of like seeing like, I mean, it was cool to see like Ritchie in person, but you know, his showmanship days are over. Like it could have been any guitar player sitting up there.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, he wasn't like taking solos and rubbing the guitar up against his ass and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the dude's almost 80, so I mean, he's impressive for, you know, his age and what he was doing, but I mean, it's just like he was just hanging back all night. So, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean, you know, if he's happy being part of a you know, a band or whatever you call what I saw last night, then you know, that's fine. You know, that's cool, you know, more power to him.
All right. Fair
So
enough.
yeah, that's my recap.
Okay. Well, much appreciated. Well, I look forward to, in reverse chronological order to the release, hearing what you have to say about it.
Yeah.
Assuming that we get a chance to do it. So, okay. Well, yeah. So we're here to talk about a bizarre. Speaking of one-offs, one and done. John's one and done to the show, and this band is sort of one and done. So we reviewed the Quatermass album from, what was it, 1970?
Yeah.
Mick Underwood's project. It was so Mick Robinson, J. Peter Robinson, and John Gustafson got together, did this one-off album, and then kind of all went their separate ways. In 1994, Mick Underwood got together with Nick Simper and Bernie Torme, along with Peter Taylor, and said, "Hey, we're going to form Quatermass 2." And this is like, you know, we got Coliseum 2, we got Quatermass 2, all these drummers bringing out sequel bands, which is kind of a funny concept to just call it 2.
Yeah, I mean, they could have been Quatermass 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, that's the obvious. The
yeah,
Revenge of Quatermass. Well, of course, it's almost impossible to Google because of these Quatermass movies, and there's of course a movie called Quatermass 2, and it's just like impossible to just distinguish between the two. But I think we talked about this before. How, like, so where I live, there's like all these subdivisions, and they have names.
Yeah.
You know, and they're all like Oak Meadow and Meadow Park and River Glens and all these like things of what the neighborhoods are named.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a new concept for me because we didn't really have names for like, did they do that around you? Like names for the neighborhoods?
I mean, there were some places that have that like around here. Like I know that I mean, at least around here, I mean, there's like I don't know if it's like if it's a neighborhood or if it's another part of the same thing because it's like we have like Lincoln here, but then there's also like Albion.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Like Rhode Island has like something like 800 or 900 of these little towns. And
Yeah, and then
like
there's what do you call it? Like Burrville and Japatchit is like, there's like Glendale and like
Pasco and
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like
Hope.
yeah, exactly. There's there's Situate, Foster, Hope, Foster,
And
Gloucester.
Foster Glossa. And there's all these like, and if you just write on your letter Hope, Rhode Island, and send it, it'll get there, even though it's not really.
Yeah.
So this is a little different. They're called subdivisions, and I guess it's just whoever developed this area just made it, and it's kind of a Midwestern thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's one in my city. Everywhere in the city, other than like the unincorporated stuff, have all these subdivisions. And there's one called Maplebrook, and then there's one called Maplebrook 2, which I think is hilarious because it's like they ran out of, like, they're all bullshit names too, like, River Glens. There's no Glens. There's no river. Like, they'll be like Forest Park. There's no park. There's no forest. They're all just like whatever they thought of, and they just made these stupid names to sound like Chestnut Ridge, and something like Cliffside, blah, blah. It's the Midwest. There's no cliffs. It's all flat.
They're just trying to make them sound like really picturesque and
it works. They sound really good. So yeah, the word hill is in my subdivision, and let me assure you, there are no hills. But yeah, Maplebrook too. I just always thought it was just so lazy. Like, you couldn't come up with something else. And it's kind of the same thing with this. Like, what? Like, I guess they're going off of Quatermass, but it's like Quatermass wasn't so huge that like they had to. But also they could have. I guess I don't know why they didn't just call it Quatermass or just call it something else. But
yeah, I mean, they needed that. They call it the bogus the bogus Quatermass.
Well, I guess the same thing. They have one original member in it still.
But it was sanctioned, so it could have been the new Quatermass.
The new Quatermass, yeah. But anyway, here you have Quatermass 2. So Peter Taylor on vocals, Bernie Torme on guitar. This doesn't last very long. Apparently Underwood and Simper got together on RPM Records Christmas Party in 1995. And started recording some tracks of Bernie Torme and an old friend of his, vocalist Pete Taylor. They ended up both leaving to record the album Wild Irish, and Torme saying he didn't really want to do the touring, so that's why he wasn't involved in the project beyond that. But there are demos out there with Bernie Torme. And then in Darker Than Blue, they mentioned that this album was happening. And of course, they also have on keyboards Don Airey. So we've got, it's a shame that Torme wasn't involved to be able to have it's kind of like a Nick Simper, Bernie Torme, Don Airey, that just would, Mick Underwood. It's all of these bits and pieces from Deep Purple and the surrounding family all just kind of put together. But 5 years before Airey joins Deep Purple, he's involved in this project. So yeah, there was some stuff you can find online about it. This is kind of, I do have to share this because it's funny. This is still up on the website, but if you go to Highway Star back in those days, this is how you'd order a CD online. And let's see if we can find it. All right, so here's this website still exists. CD mail order form, and it's just this. Wow. It's a picture of a teddy bear that says is holding a sign that says "Happy to be part of the music industry," and yeah, it says with your first order you'll receive the full 80-page CD catalog and connoisseur catalog. So this would have been where you would have gotten like "Play Me Out" and "Butterfly Ball," Wizards Convention, all stuff that got released on connoisseur. And you can phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week using Access, Visa, MasterCard, Eurocard, or Switch. And it's got a little mail order label there. It just basically says if you're in the UK, how much it is. If you're outside the UK, how much it is, and where to send the money. But yeah, this was 1997 is how you would order a CD off the internet. And I think I did get a couple this way of the Deep Purple family.
Yeah, I remember like ordering that kind of brings me back to ordering some Deep Purple CDs through the mail, and I think import, and I want to say I can't remember if it was the Deep Purple Family album, which I think that
Hmm.
was the biggest kind of reach to like all these other artists that I had at the time, which probably got me into it. But it was that and maybe like a couple of others. But it was basically filled out an order form, and it was overseas. It was from like yeah, England, whatever. But I remember putting cash in the envelope. I don't know what the
Yeah.
exchange was or whatever, and like miraculously, I got something in return.
Yeah, right. That
Like
was
I probably who knows? I probably gave him like way more. Like I don't even know. I mean, I would just like fill out order forms, put cat because I mean, I didn't have like a checking account. Like I, didn't like sometimes I ride my bike down to the post office and get a money order.
yeah.
But I mean, mostly I just kind of like keep my fingers crossed and just put my, allowance in there or whatever.
Just stuff a bunch of cash in there to be like, hey, hopefully this is enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever it was, I would see like say like the 20 and then the pound sign and just be like, well, I mean, I guess that's kind of like dollars, and I just put 20 in and hope for the best.
They're probably, this dumb fool just send us too much money, but we're gonna just give it to him anyway.
Yeah, well, I wound up getting some CDs. I mean, it wasn't like a lot. I mean, didn't have a ton of money, but I mean, I was able to get a few that way.
Yeah, why not? All right, so yeah, not a ton on this album. There's a few things after, but it was produced by the band Quatermass 2, engineered by Andrew Levien, executive producer Peter Pornell, who worked for what is it? I'm drawing a blank, but I think he was the executive producer on that recent Gillan episode we did for that video. Why am I drawing a blank on the clear? I want to call it Clear Air, but it's not something. It's air. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's the production team behind this. Then we've got bass Nick Simper, drums and percussion Mick Underwood, lead guitar Gary Davis, who was in the band Raw Glory with Mick Underwood. Vocals and guitar Bart Foley was an Irish singer. He worked with Randy Bachman and Cilla Black. He's the frontman of a Celtic folk rock band called Creed's Cross. And then on keyboards, the one and only Don Airey. So there you have it. And then with that, we get right to the album art. And there's 3 different covers. It basically depends on where you got this. But here is the cover that I have. Do I have? Oh, shoot, I think I left that upstairs. But this is the cover I have.
Right.
It's harkening back to that weird pterodactyl theme from the
Yeah.
first album. But this one looks like he's on like a weird alien planet.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
It's got this weird like early Photoshop texture behind the logo. And then it's almost like they ran out of time and they're like, didn't color in the sky. So it's just red and a yellow sun on a white background. Like they forgot to color it in.
Yeah.
We've got this alternate version. Angel Air just came to me. Angel Air, that's the one. This is another version of the cover. Quatermass 2, a little on the nose, long road. They're just kind of standing there, and behind them is what, John? What would you call that?
A long road.
I would call
Jesus.
it the same. That's my yeah. They're kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of like a rendering of a road. Like they didn't even put any lines on the road. It's just a very straight road.
Yeah. Okay.
Then the third version, I think this is the one that's from the UK, and then I think this is the Japanese release. They bring back the pterodactyl. There's like a swarm or a flock of pterodactyls flying above a forest. It says Quatermass 2 Long Road, and then it just mentions the members of the band.
Yeah, I don't really like any of them.
I think I like the first one better for its simplicity.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they all look really just cheap.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the first one, if it wasn't for that poor photograph, that poor Photoshop rather texture background, would look kind of the coolest. Like it looks a little more like iconic.
Yeah.
Dare I say iconic?
Yeah, I don't know if I would call any of this iconic, but I would say maybe like the preferred album cover.
Yes, exactly.
But I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that like none of them are really that great. I mean, even I mean, the second one, the picture is like terrible.
Oh, it's really bad. It's yeah, like it's all grainy and blurry.
Like who's that over? Like who's that on the right? Like Ben Franklin? Like who's that supposed to be?
That's Mick Underwood.
Oh, like that's not a great picture of him. You know, he looks like he belongs on like the $100 bill or some shit. It's just like it's just like a bad picture of all of them. Like, maybe except for the sunglasses guy. He's just kind of like, you know, half his face is cut off and he's like, "Hey," but everybody else looks dumb.
I think Nick Simper looks pretty good.
Yeah, I know he looks all right, but I mean, it's not like, I don't know. They could have done a better band picture.
The guy on the left is just kind of like, huh? Like he looks like maybe this is supposed to be a power trio, but he just wandered into the shot. Like, oh shoot, are you guys taking pictures here?
And there's no Don Airey because he's special guest.
Yeah, he's a special guest on all the tracks, but he's like, no, I'm not an official member. Probably like at that point they were saying like, well, he's saying like, well, I'll play on the album, but I can't tour with you guys.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later, but so there you have it. That's the album cover. Yeah, it's weird to have an album cover where the band is all. It's almost like they're telling the band like, "Hey, we're trying to take a picture of this long road. Will you guys spread out? Get out of the way. We're trying." And they didn't get like all, you know, like it's.
And they were all like this, and then they went like.
Yeah, they're leaning back like, whoa. It's like you still see pictures now, like even though everyone's got at the worst a digital camera, but at the best they've got their phone. They can see exactly what the shot is, and you say, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna take a picture," and everyone like leans in, and you've got this like little mound of people instead of just everyone standing up straight and understanding that whoever's taking the picture can see exactly what the picture is going to look like. You don't need to do that.
Yeah,
but people still do it. I wonder if like young kids still do it. They probably don't. But anybody like even our age or older does it still.
What do they do?
You know, like you got a picture of a bunch of people standing together and you're like, "Hey, I'm going to take a picture." And then everyone like leans together.
Yeah.
So you've got this like vast background behind them because you know exactly where they are in the shot. You don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why I do the same thing too. Like when I see pictures, I'll be like, "All right, get in there," and I'll like kind of like lean down like this, you know, to like next to the other person, you know, rather than just standing up and maybe like putting my arm around them, because it's like if the person's taking the picture, they're not going to be like, "Oh, well, all right, we're going to just take a picture with like half of John's head cut off." Like, you know, they'd probably adjust it up and maybe, you know, cut you off at the ankles or something instead, or back up or whatever. But it's like I see so many pictures like that where it's like, okay.
Yeah, everybody still does it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know why. It's like ingrained in you or something, you know?
Yeah, like with a film camera, you didn't really know. Like you knew sort of where the border was, but it wasn't going to match up exactly. But with this camera, like, and what's the worst case? It doesn't come out good. You take another one.
Well, I think
I love that when I'm taking a picture like of my kids or something in public and somebody like walks in front of it and like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." I'm like, who cares? Like,
well, I mean, I think that's.
I always tell the dad joke. I'm always like, "Don't worry, I've got plenty of film." Hey.
But I think it's just well, first of all, that I think is just people trying to be polite. Like, "Oh, sorry, I got in your way." But I think it's just a holdover from we grew up in that era of, you know, who the fuck knows if this picture's even going to come out. So we're still.
Yeah. And it costs like actual money.
Yeah.
Where now it's essentially free.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I almost sometimes you know, you got to wish pictures weren't free because it would like put a limit on some of like the friggin' garbage that you have laying around. It's like, I'll have a picture from like 5 years ago of like, I don't know, a friggin' trash can or something. And I'm like, why do I even have
yeah, you
this?
don't even, like, it's like I remember taking this picture, but I don't remember why. It's usually like I just take, you didn't, I need to remember something. Click, you take a picture of it. And then you probably never even look at it anyway, and you can't remember anyway.
Well, the best part is when you get those like memories things, your phone will make up like memories from like, May 2017, and it'll show like pictures from your vacation, and then like interspersed with it'll be like a picture of a whiteboard that I took at work because I needed to remember what was written on it. And it's like, you see like mountains and family, and then like a garbage can or something.
Or a plate of chicken wing bones. It's like, why did I take a picture of that?
Or like a barcode, like on the back of something, like sometimes you'll take a picture of something so you can like bring it back like somewhere, and
mine'll be like a picture of a rash on my son's back from like 5 years ago that I sent to the doctor. I'm glad I have that.
Memories. It's like, oh, remember when you were in pain?
Remember you had that rash?
Remember when you were itchy and like, deformed? Oh yeah.
We had to ask the doctor what was going on.
Oh yeah, good times. Good times.
Good times. All right. Well, speaking of good times, it's time to get into this album. But before we do so, we're going to thank our next level of patrons. And that is, of course, the core level coming in at the $7.77 Keep It Warm Rat tier. We have Michael Vader. At the $6.99 new nice price tier, we have Spike the Rock Cat and Sugar Tea. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell, Arthur Smith.
Getting support from the patron Arthur Smith.
Anton Glaving and Charles Meadows. At the $6.65 Almost Evil tier, Kenny Wymore and Richie Sucksmith. At the $5.99 the nice price tier, Robert Smith and Carl Hellberg. At the 60 kroner Scandinavian Nights tier, we have Newt Morton Johansson. And at the $5 money lender tier, we have John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, Kev Roberts, Percival Frequency, Scott Zerns, Cynthia Doobie, Raf Calf, whose thing is missing. Oh my goodness, what happened? All right. Coyote Bongwater, John Maselli. Oh no.
Hey, isn't that heavy?
No, it's light beer.
Sarah Sanders.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
And Jelly Bean. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast.
What was that? Oh no about?
Because it's the light beer one. I've done that one like 3 times accidentally.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean,
it's like, yeah, it's the episodes will be out of order, so it probably won't be that big a deal. But Raph, I don't know where your it was in the other template, but I don't know. We're just trying to get by. It's the last day before summer vacation or summer break, so we're phoning it in.
We're 1 foot out the door, baby.
That's right. We're already on the beach with a tropical drink in our hand.
Yeah, don't we have does Deep Purple have a schools out anthem?
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Schools out for the podcast is out till August.
But to you, there will be no gap.
Yeah.
All right. So we're started up. This is a CD. The first track is Prayer for the Dying.
So I forgot to ask, is this a long CD?
I don't know if it's particularly long. I don't think so. I hope not.
All right, well, that doesn't make me feel any better. All right. Very early to mid 90s sounding.
Yeah.
There's a lot of friggin' songs on this, Nate.
They're short and poppy AOR style songs. I couldn't make a 2-parter before the summer break.
Well, yeah, you could have, and then you could have like hit part one. We would have left it on a cliffhanger. How does this album end? Find out in the fall.
Except it would have been next week for the listeners.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's Don.
This sounds very like got a very familiar sound to it. Like it has a very like kind of like a Dokken type of like feel to it.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, I could hear like Dokken, like Don Dokken singing this back in the day. So it's definitely got that where they're in the 90s, but they're like really 70s, 80s rock / metal guys releasing an album that decided that they weren't going to follow the trends.
Yeah. Oh, I just Googled Quatermass 2 length and it said 1 hour and 25 minutes, but they're talking about the movie.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Oh, it's nice nice dynamics in this.
It's not bad.
Good bass sound. I can see the AOR. I think JLT would have been right at home in this band so far.
Yeah, he's got a real like JLT. I don't want to say he has a JLT. Yeah, he's got a kind of a JLT quality.
Yeah.
Like JLT, like Don Dokken, like that type of like 80s vocalist.
I like that. I wonder if this is available on any of the streaming platforms. Probably not.
I don't know. You want me to check?
I'm checking.
What are you checking?
There's Quatermass 3. It's a group called Quatermass 3. I'm assuming that is not Mick Underwood trying it one last time.
Well, I see Quatermass 7.
All right, there's a lot of...
Yeah, a lot of Quatermasses.
Yeah. I never knew there were any, really.
Well, yeah, there's the
somebody talking about Quatermass 3 on Twitter saying, they are fucking great live. You'll have a ball. They're much better than Whiff Waff Waltz. Okay. All right, John, how would you rank Prayer for the Dying?
Hang on, I'm getting my getting back into my sheet.
We need opening up the spreadsheet song as well as busting out the. Well, I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, all right. Prayer for the. Sorry, I had it. That's the thing is like I have it open, but it's like sometimes if I close it, it'll shut the whole thing down. Then I'm gonna go back in.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. Okay. Enough of that. So I'll give a 3.5. I thought it was pretty good. Production sounded pretty decent. Like you could hear all the instruments. You could hear everything was nice and separated. Guitar had a nice clean tone. It was like kind of clean, but like it was heavy, but again, in that way that like maybe like a kind of a more mellow, like early 80s, like, Dokken song is. This really made me think of like early Dokken. I don't know why. But I feel like it sounds similar to a song that I've definitely heard before, probably like several. I'm sure some people can be like, oh yeah, it sounds like blah 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 from 1985.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a a good one because it's not like a chugging like like riff oriented song, or like something with power chords, whatever. It's just it's a different type of 80s song, and the vocalist actually isn't bad, because I'm thinking like, okay, I never heard of this vocalist. He's probably going to be it's a crapshoot with some of the offshoot albums. You never know what you're going to get. It could be somebody that's really whiny or gravelly, or they're just like not good, and then make the listen really rough. But yeah, no, I thought this was pretty decent.
Yeah, I think the vocalist was really good, and he really committed to the words too. You could tell it was almost like over the top how how he was delivering them, but he delivered the words really, really well. Love Nick's bass tone, very unusual sound, but very good. I also gave this one a 3.5. That was a nice start to the album, mellow kind of album. Like you said, the guitar, it was kind of clean, but it had that edge enough to cut through, where we've heard sometimes where there's just something in the production where the guitar sounds wimpy, or it doesn't sit on top of the mix the way it should, at least for the leads. And here, I think it sounds really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the leads and like the fills, like that guitar was nice, and that was like a really like heavy, good distorted tone for like it really cut through. Whereas like the main, not the main riff, but like the rhythm was just kind of the picked out notes. So it's kind of that almost like that metal trope of like that bum bum burn,
Yeah.
one of those. Very cool though.
Yeah.
So not what I don't know what I was expecting, but not that.
It's odd to say this is like related in any way to Quatermass, because they only had one album. It didn't sound anything like this. So anyway, next track up is called Good Day to Die. Ooh, a big gong.
All right, I like this.
This is heavy. Ancient warriors. I don't know enough about Dokken to know if this sounds like Dokken.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, and I'm not a huge, like, also, I got to get out of the way. I'm not a huge Dokken fan, casual Dokken fan, but
yeah.
But I'm just thinking from like this definitely sounds like this is stuck in the 80s. Like this album probably came out like 10 years too late.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Because if you told me this was like some band's demo from like 84 or 85, I'd be like, yep.
Yeah, well, you'd probably be like, I'm surprised it didn't make it any bigger. I think this would have gone over really well 10 years earlier.
No, but this makes me think of like a I don't know, like a mid 80s horror movie that like needed like maybe the third or fourth in the franchise that just needed a rocking song and like one of like the like a party scene or something.
Leprechaun
like
that.
5. Yeah, exactly. Like that's playing over like the end credits or something. It's definitely has like a strong 80s vibe to it.
Yep.
And at this point we're a few years out of the 80s. So
it has 97.
quite a few years out of the 80s. I mean, already I can tell you this is probably 2 songs in the best post-purple thing that Nick Simper has done.
This is pretty strong.
Which I'm really happy I can say that. Because I really want to like something that Nick Simper's in besides Deep Purple.
Oh, we still have to cover his Mark I Nasty Habits reunion.
I mean, I'm sure that that's going to be cool, but I mean, like, original music, new band.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I heard the Nasty Habit stuff, and that was really good. But
yeah, it's nice to hear them carrying those Mark I songs into many decades later and breathing a little life into them, making them sound a little more timeless.
Yeah, well, nobody else is doing it.
That's right. All right. Well, John, we've determined it's a good day to die. How good a day is it, in your estimation?
I'll give another 3.5. I thought this was another strong entry here. I like the just after I was like, yeah, there was no riff in the first song. They're like, oh yeah, well here's a riff for you.
You even mentioned something about chugging. There's no chugging, and there was like chug.
No, but it was good, and I mean, I kind of liked it. You had that like kind of, steady beat, steady rhythm going there with the. Yeah, good day to die, good day to die. It's a very 80s sing-along type of chorus, like something that you feel like you'd throw your fist up to and everything. So, yeah.
But it's a little macabre, though, to be like, it's a good day to die is... Well, what the intonation and everything of what they were saying had that vibe, but it's like, good day to die. Wait a second, I don't want to die. I want to party some more.
Well, that's why I was saying this could be like maybe the scene where there's a party and all of a sudden 80s Jason Voorhees comes up behind the unsuspecting teen and slashes his throat. Good day to die.
It's like a killing montage. Like, Jason, you're behind in your quota. You've got to kill a bunch more of these teens. Oh man, I better get to work. Good day to die. And there's just all the cuts to all these different scenes of him killing people.
And then he goes back and he calls his boss up. All right, boss, how am I doing now?
Yeah, and at the end, it's like the song fades out and he's like, did I make it? You just made it, Voorhees. You got to keep your job another day. Why didn't they do that in one of those movies? I agree, 3.5. I liked this one a lot. It's like how I say everything. The 2 songs we've heard so far kind of down tempo, but both really good. Nice production, nice playing. The only thing I could say, like we've said, is about a decade too late.
Yeah.
All right. So that takes us to our next trap. Wild Wedding. Here we go.
Yeah. You've heard of White Wedding? This is Wild Wedding.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, this wedding is wild. It's like this guys there skateboarding. Radical. What kind of wild wedding is this?
This one sounds a little more upbeat.
A little upbeat, sort
poppier,
bluesy sort of song. There's Don Airey tickling the ivories in the background. Guy's gonna be drunk as a skunk at his own wedding. Hey, if you look up Wild Wedding, it does bring up Quatermass too. Huh, but then when you click on the band, there's nothing there. Huh, but the album is there. It's on Spotify. Huh.
It is?
Yeah. But I only found it through searching for the lyrics to the song, so.
Oh.
One of those weird things, like I clicked on Quatermass 2 and there was nothing there. But then I found this album separate. Odd. You know, it's funny. I thought for sure that was coming.
And then the drum thing at the end.
Shigga-da-boom.
Yeah, that's it. Shigga-da-boom.
If only everyone was clapping after it. Yeah!
Oh.
Woo!
All right, that would have given an automatic 2 right there. No clapping.
Okay, well, then I have to ask you what you will give it and see how many points you would deduct for the clapping ending. What's the standard deduction? 1, 1.5?
Oh, well, let me see. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how much I like the song, but yeah, so this is very, I guess you'd say this is very like kind of Whitesnake-ish.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll give it a 3.
His would be more interested in the wild honeymoon, darling.
The wild wedding night.
I can't wait to get in your pants. All right. Everyone's clapping for him afterwards.
Yeah, this is kind of like your like you said, kind of a stock honky tonk blues, up tempo type of thing. Didn't fit in as well with the first two. The first two were a little more dark, a little heavier, I think. I mean, I guess it fits in the probably the overall sound and everything, but the style of the song is just like, man, I could have done without it. But I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just like, kind of one of those a Whitesnake-esque party song, which the clapping at the end would have been right
devastating.
It would have been devastating, but also right at home, but
yeah, I feel like this style song has just been done to death a million times by so many bands. Like even on this show, even on our show alone, we've probably covered a song that's functionally identical to this 50 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's the classic "We Need One More" song. It's bordering on lazy blues song, but it's more just like, I don't know, guys.
Lazy honky tonk.
Yeah, it's lazy upbeat blues. I feel like that, we haven't heard the whole album yet, but I'm pretty sure they could have just left this one off. I mean, I'm also giving it a 3. There's nothing objectionable about it. It's fun. It's upbeat, but it's just breaking no new ground. The only thing compelling about it to me is that it's called Wild Wedding. And to me, it just seems like, like the wild world of sports or something. It's like, oh, this wedding's wild. The wife is a trapeze artist and the groom fences or something, it's like, I don't know. It's a weird concept for a song, and I couldn't really find the lyrics to read along to. And oddly, if you search this album in Spotify, it does not come up. I went to the browser on my phone. I Googled the lyrics to this song, and the first thing that comes up is this album on Spotify, and it opens the app. So I sent you a link to it. So now you've got it in your Spotify.
Oh,
very bizarre that it's unsearchable in Spotify.
Yeah, maybe they don't want it to be. I don't know.
And then when I go, like, if I click on the band, like Quatermass too, I click on it. Like normally you can follow them, but there's nothing to follow. It just says fans also like Quatermass, Praying Mantis, and yes. And then there's no option to look at any of these songs. Oh, if I go to merch, I can buy the movie Quatermass too.
Yeah,
it's just a mess. Like clearly nothing's linked up properly for it, but
okay, so by the way, this is 56 minutes, by the way.
Oh boy. Okay, we better pick up the pace.
Yep, come on. Well,
all right, next song. Okay, so the next track, I'm waiting to see if it is an INXS cover, but we'll have to press play to find out because it's called Suicide Blonde.
Nope.
No, well, it could be a very creative cover. You never know. Let's listen for the lyrics.
I like those bends.
That's nice. Those little strings that Don Airey is playing.
Yeah, see, like, if you skipped over the third song and went right to this one, the album would have kept flowing much better. That other one was just weird. Wild Wedding.
Yeah. Oh, nice little bass line there. It's weird when the weirdest song on the album is the most normal sounding song. Just doesn't fit. So, is Suicide Blonde like a thing?
What do you mean?
Like, is it a term? Like, I only ever know it from the INXS song, so it seems weird to steal that title, basically, because it's such a unique thing. Is it a term? Is there something that's called a suicide blonde that I'm not aware of?
I mean, maybe. Either that or they just straight up stole the title.
Because it just seems weird to just like if I had a song called Purple Haze, I'm just like, this is my song Purple Haze. Like, it's not a thing people say. It was originated for that song, and so is Suicide Blonde as far as I'm aware.
All right. So look this up here. The term suicide blonde typically refers to someone who's dyed their hair blonde. The phrase originates from the idea of dyeing or changing the color of the hair themselves with the pun on suicide, dying intentionally. It gained popularity in the 90s, especially with the song Suicide Blonde by the band INXS. The term plays on the idea of a dramatic and intentional transformation.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
So I guess it is a term.
I guess I've just never heard the term used ever outside of the name of that song.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody has. I mean, unless, like, maybe you're walking by a girl that bleached blonde her hair and you're just like, ooh, she's a suicide blonde. Did she do it herself?
He sounded kind of like Paul Stanley. I've seen you in the hotel, dyeing your
ice.
hair.
Dyeing your hair, getting some ice.
She's a real suicide blonde. Maybe it's like it could be a British and Commonwealth thing too. Maybe it just never caught on in America. I know your secret. You dyed your hair yourself.
I see your roots.
Kind of had a little Blue Oyster Cult feel right there. That lead.
Yeah. That's really not bad. Really not bad stuff. And you have like a little simper there. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, doing some nice little bass runs in the song.
Yeah.
All right, John, how do you feel about Suicide Blonde, the not cover of the NXS song?
She did it herself.
I saw her doing it herself.
I mean, along the lines of the first like two songs, I really like it. So I'm gonna say it's another 3.5.
All right.
I think really, I think it's I think these songs are like what I would say is like marginally catchy. Like it's good to put on. Like I feel like this would be good to put on because it's like it's in the style and under the umbrella of the type of music I like, but it's not great. Like I've heard other bands do it better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice for a change because sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to listen to the same band that I've listened to or the same album I've listened to for a million times. Oh, let me put this one on because it's like that 80s style and it's pretty good.
And it sounds like familiar. It sounds like, oh yeah, I listened to this a bunch in the late 80s, even though what didn't exist
really.
yet.
Exactly.
Like it has that familiarity to it. Like I bet they could have put this out and tricked everybody by saying like, oh, we did this album in 1985 and we the record company didn't pick it up for whatever reason and we're putting it out now as like a special edition, and people say, oh man, kind of like your people that are looking for that one, like you said, like I'd love to hear an album from that era that I've never heard before and get that feeling of newness, but yet familiarity.
Yep.
But I also give this a 3.5. I think so far this album is solid. Well produced, well played, pretty good songs. And takes us to the next track, which is called River. Whoa. Little left-hand turn there.
Okay.
Lost on some road between yesterday and nowhere. Just following the lights. Hey, it's looking good by the rearview mirror. Don't it look cool?
Got like a Zeppelin feel on this one.
Very cool.
Or like a 25 or 624 on the...
A very Revelation Mother Earth type solo right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, one night I woke up slowly. And I got evil there.
Where's your microphone?
Down here.
Oh, trying something new? I just realized I don't see your microphone.
Yeah, I feel like it catches my voice better when it's down here rather than trying to put it up here. So I've been trying that.
All right.
I like that. You're like, where's your microphone? Just out of nowhere.
I've heard you, but
I kind of like the little piano flourishes. It's so funny that you can, like, just by hearing it, you can tell it's Don Airey, which is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, you think, like, something that's small you wouldn't be able to tell, but... Good solo.
Yeah, really good.
Cars rolling down the highway, headlights shining through the night.
Ooh. Boom, 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 boom.
Lost on some road between yesterday and today. Just following the light.
Makes you wonder how many takes they even gave Don Airey. Probably never, you know, he's so good, you could just be like, we're gonna play this song for you for the first time. Here's the key it's in, and he'll just like, and maybe that's why it's all riffy like that. He's just messing around, throwing things in where he thinks it works.
Yeah, you can just throw in whatever shit you want. He's like, okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine being like, Don, back to the drawing board. That sucked. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, okay. I would just like, yeah, if I were Don Airey, I'd go over and I'd smack the wine glass right out of their hand. What are you talking about, bitch?
While he's holding a wine glass in his other hand.
I'm trying to think of what he would slap out of somebody's hand. A pen.
A pen.
Well, you know, because they'd be taking notes like, oh, that wasn't good enough. And he's like, man. And then he'd like...
I like this recalcitrant Don Airey that you have imagined. And he just, producers like writing notes, just smacks it. I can't work like this.
Like, no evidence whatsoever that Don Airey would ever behave like that.
No, I can't even imagine it.
You know, he'd be like, he'd be like the John McEnroe of keyboards. He just like flip it over and storm out of the studio.
You fucking kidding me? That was fine.
He finishes playing, and they're like, "That's no good." He's like, "What?" And then he just like pushes, shoves it up against the wall.
He tips his like piano, his electric piano over. He goes up to like the one of the racks. He just unplugs all the wires. Good luck figuring that out again, asshole. And storms out.
Like goes over to the mixing board and he just starts turning all the knobs.
Messing with all the faders.
How do you like that?
I'm out of here. All right. So what do you? What do you give River?
Okay. I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty creative. I'll give it a 3. I really liked I did like the flourishes that Don Airey put in there. I think it did elevate it a little bit more than if he wasn't on there. But I also like the kind of like we said, the left turn that the song took when it started off really heavy. And then, I mean, you could have gone to kind of a ballady or a softer thing, but the way they did it was a little kind of different. It was jarring because when they did that, you went, oh, so
yeah.
It kind of had that effect. And I think maybe, the desired effect of just kind of like grabbing your attention a little bit. And I like it's kind of keeping in the same vein as the other songs, except for the Crazy Wedding or whatever it was.
What? Wild wedding.
Yeah, wild wedding.
I don't know why it's so funny to call it crazy wedding.
Crazy. I mean, all weddings are crazy if you think about it.
It just seems like just like a silly wedding. This wedding's crazy.
But yeah. I mean, right now, Wild Wedding is the only song that doesn't fit in here because I feel like all of these are similar keys, similar kind of vibe feelings, which is good. I mean, I think overall so far the album's coherent. So I mean, it's got that going for it.
Yeah, we are. I can't remember the last time we were this lockstep, but I'm also giving it a 3. Thought it was just like I liked a lot of elements of it, but a little on the long side for what it was. But great guitar. Love the keyboard flourishes. You know, solid song for sure. Which brings us to the next track, the titular Long Road. It's a dusty old road. Well, he's referencing the river. Like it's like almost like it's like a concept album at this point. Oh, I like that. That's like a Floyd-ish synth sound. Dig it. Oh, wow. It's oddly funky.
It's kind of like a reggae Led Zeppelin.
Don't they have that already? Isn't it Dread Zeppelin?
All right, this sounds like Dread Zeppelin then.
With Tortelvis. You listen to Dread Zeppelin, right?
I mean, I've heard of it.
I had a couple of their albums. The singer like sings like Elvis, but they do like reggae Zeppelin songs, but the singer's called Tortelvis.
I've definitely heard of it.
It's great. Yeah, that's kind of a Zeppelin-ish sort of. But yeah, it's got a weird, funky groove to it. I like it.
What's a Zeppelin song that it kind of reminds me of? Is it Kashmir?
It might be Cat. Oh yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it puts a nice twist on it, and it's only okay because it's not Coverdale.
Yeah.
I don't mind when bands sound like Zeppelin a little bit if it's not somebody accusing Coverdale of stealing.
Well, and it's funny, like nothing about the vocals reminds me of Plant. A little, well, drums are drums, but yeah, like it's not, it's reminiscent of Zeppelin without being whatever, Kingdom Come.
Right.
Doing some little volume swell solo there.
Gotta keep
Now it's kind of got a Jimmy Page feel to the solo, I think. Kind of hitting those notes of like a an epic kind of song.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice little keyboard run that was kind of quiet in the background. Sorry, I think my kids are having a stomping contest upstairs.
I was wondering who that was during the quiet part of the
saved that
song.
for when they know I'm recording.
Yeah.
All right. John, Long Road.
The long and winding road.
They did say that too. They were like, long road, it's winding.
Of course.
Of course, they had to. All right, what do you think of that one?
The titular.
What do you think of the titular?
No, you could go ahead. I stole your thunder.
Well, I already said it before the song, so.
What do I think of the titular long road?
Yeah, what do you?
I'll give it a 4.
Oh my God.
Oh, come on. It wasn't a 5.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was also gonna give it a 4. Like, it's just like you're reading my mind so far. And we're 6 tracks of complete lockstep. But sorry,
wow.
That's why I was surprised more than the rating.
Oh, I thought you were like, wow. It was you gave a 4.
I can't believe it.
All right. I thought it was but I thought it was really good because it had dynamics. It was like we said, it kind of had like a funky yet heavy kind of rhythm to it, and very epic quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, there's just something about the song that had that quality to it. Like it was perfect for the title track.
Yeah, and if you're like looking at the waveform here, it's just it's just little waveform that gets really big when it builds up. It gets this little quiet part in the middle during that acoustic part. It's
a lot of dynamics.
I love the dynamics. I love the song. I think it's great. Oop, sorry, I just started up the next song accidentally. Yeah, I also give it a 4. Really solid stuff. And you could see that being the closeout to a side of the album if they were still doing that sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
All right. The next track up is called Woman in Love. Right off the back, reminds me of one of my favorite Ben Harper songs, which is called The Woman in You.
The girl can't help it. She's doing the best she can.
Makes me think of there ain't no love in the heart
Oh,
of the
yeah,
city.
yeah. Good call.
She's falling for another man. She feels so
Don Airey up front on this one.
The man comes home at night. Love and shining in his eyes.
I should, you know what? I'm going to put the link to the Spotify in the show notes because you won't be able to find it unless you Google it for some weird reason.
Yeah, make it easy for our fans.
Exactly.
For our listeners, our fans.
Yeah, they're not fans. They listen. They're just like, if you ask them, they're like, I listen, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah, for our listeners. That's what I meant, not our fans.
I'm gonna embed this right into our show notes so people can listen.
Yeah, you can fucking embed it.
I
don't know why I'm so angry tonight.
It sounded more horny than angry. Yeah, embed it. Oh, you're so nasty. It must like Christian Bale gif of him going.
Yeah, embed that shit.
I'm gonna bet you're about to listen to this right on deeppurplepodcast.com.
Yeah, just just a little hawk tour. It took me a while to figure out what that was, that trend. Or that
what trend?
Or I don't know, whatever you call it, the hawk tour girl. Like somebody made like a poster of it, and it just said hawk tour, and it had a picture of her, and I was just like, what is this? Like a new movie or like?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh boy. All right.
Is it family friendly?
No, it's not.
Okay. Hawk tour? Like you when you spit? Hawk tour.
Yeah. Yes. Let's just say that there's a girl that went viral and they call her the hawk tour girl.
Okay.
Or if you want a good laugh, just ask your kids about it. They probably know.
Oh boy. Oh, it's from 5 days ago. I'm finding something. Mm-hmm. John, you're on the bleeding edge of.
That's just because other people have told me. They're just like, look at this, it's funny, and I'm just like, it's just some bitch being nasty.
There's a headline. This is supposed to be a love song here. Now we're talking about the nasty hawk tour girl. First result, Glamour UK. Who is Hawk Tour Girl? The viral TikTok meme explained.
Well, the woman in love probably would not appreciate this.
No.
I like those swells.
Yeah.
I mean, just listening to this, it's like it sounds like great, like background music or something where you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna put on
great background music for when you're talking about some disgusting TikTok meme.
Oh Jesus. No,
yeah, I don't want our Hawk Tour tangent to take away from that. This is good stuff.
No, it's like, you put it on for like background music, like if you were having like a party, like a rockin' party.
John's rockin' New Year's Eve.
No, but if you know what I mean, if you just like, this would be good in like a playlist. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, this would be good for like a rockin' party.
Oh, John, you're so cool. Do you invite all the kids over for one of your rockin' parties?
I don't know what the hell's wrong with me today. But it would be, I think more appropriately, like it would fit in well with a playlist of other like artists, like more well known, I think, that are doing the same style of music.
It would be good to slip these songs in like just randomly, and people would be like, because they'd be rocking out to these songs. Like, wait, wait, I don't remember this one. Like, and then looking around, does anybody else remember this? I don't remember this, but it sounds like it came out at the same time.
Right.
All right, John, what are you going to give Woman in Love?
See, Woman in Love, I'll give a, I'll give a 3.5.
All right.
I thought it was good. I like I think it's because it was, it sounds like it was really closely related to Ain't No Love, the Whitesnake version, that I really like it because I like that song. So it's like something similar to that. Of course, is very kind of a pleasant resolution of chords and such and whatnot and so forth.
Yep.
So there you go.
Perfect for your rock party.
Perfect for your rockin' party.
Your John's rockin' New Year's. Well, we're gonna have the first divergence we've had yet. I'm gonna give it another 4. I really dug Woman in Love. It's again.
Where would your love life be without one?
That's true. But yeah, it's great dynamics again on these songs. Just well crafted. I'm enjoying it. All right, the next track up is called Hit and Run. I hate to make another Led Zeppelin reference, but see, with that, it goes away and it doesn't sound like Zeppelin anymore. Wow. Sounds like early Crew. With a better singer. I like that. That almost sounds like something Ritchie'd be doing in the background on a Deep Purple song, honestly.
Yeah,
John, you look perplexed.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about the guitar tone is very. It's good. It's kind of a dirty tone.
Yeah, like that. I mean, the first one in the left channel is like intentionally muddy and distant sounding, and then when the other one comes in, it really fills it out.
But it's like it could have been more distorted and heavy, but they didn't make it that way, so it's more rock than it is metal.
Yeah, yep.
And this makes it sound more of a 70s sounding song than something from the 80s, even though it still fits in.
It's got kind of a moxie feel to it. Did you hear that cut out?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
That was weird. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of a Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Kind of riff.
Well, that's where you can really hear the sound of the vocal booth when he delivered that. Oh, nice.
Good stuff.
I like that.
Nice.
Very, so this is Bart Foley on vocals, I'm sorry. Gary Davis on guitar. But, like, it's very refreshing to hear somebody, like, playing some really blistering solos, but it never goes into shred territory. It's just really good rock soloing.
Yeah. Yes. I do enjoy that as well. Because it's got more feeling to it.
Yeah.
It translates to having more feeling.
Yeah, he's not just running up and down a Mixolydian mode, you know, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Or, of course, the sweep arpeggio.
Right. A big concert ending.
Oh, are they going to cheer afterwards? Let's listen. All right.
No cheering. No cheering.
No cheering at all.
Thank goodness.
All right. John, what do you think of Hit and Run?
Well, that song was definitely a hit and run. Gets a 4 from me.
All right.
Yeah, great stuff. Probably one of the best songs that we've heard so far.
Yeah.
Just really good vibe, good pace, good
another 4 from me as well.
Yeah, just real just this heavy up tempo like rock, and you just like, you know, this is when you're driving in your car, going to the rockin' party, you know,
on your way to John's rockin' party.
you're banging your
John's
head.
rock and roll party.
Yeah, just but yeah, no, that one had a lot of elements of like a great rock song in it, I think.
I agree. 4 from me as well. Yeah, really good one. And it's interesting because like sometimes when we get into the albums, as we get further along in the album, the fatigue sets in, but I feel like that's almost the opposite is happening. Like they're just like warming up and backloading some of the better tracks. It's really good, solid stuff.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our next track, Daylight Robbery. Yeah.
Stand up and shout.
Yeah. This sounds like it would be a great album opener.
Yeah, right? See where it goes.
Sounds like a Lost Rainbow track. Take your hands off me. Hey,
Okay.
copper. Oh, wow. Maybe I spoke too soon about the shredding. Damn.
Nice.
That was a killer solo. I've probably been messing up by not mentioning so far I just found a site that says writing credits. And this one was actually written by John Gustafsson, interestingly enough. So I don't know if it was left lying around from the previous group, but and one of the songs, the song River actually was written by Bernie Torme.
Okay. Not too shabby.
No.
Dare I say before the album ends is that you're right. It is just accelerating. It's just getting better.
It just keeps ramping up. It's very interesting listen.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do you think of Daylight Robbery?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I'll tell you why. I loved it. I thought it was great, but it was too derivative of Stand Up and Shout. So it's like, if I want to listen to Stand Up and Shout, I'm gonna go listen to that. But I mean, that being said, that's because I had to like deduct points. I had to, or half a point maybe. Otherwise, I would have given it a 4. But
thank God that they didn't clap at the end. Then it would have gone down to a 2.5.
Automatic 2 for clapping.
Just across the board. Doesn't matter how good the song is. You could be like at the end of Stargazer. You could be like, woo, be like 2.
But yeah, this was. I thought this was really good. Yeah, and I mean the solo was like fantastic. Solo was
Really
great.
good.
This was I mean it was just a good balance of a blistering solo, maybe a few pyrotechnics thrown in, but not too shreddy. But I'm starting to kind of get a sense of the whole album here is that it's very ultimately probably not well, besides being released 10 years too late, as we've been saying this whole time, but also very derivative of other things that people have already done. So I don't know that the writing is very creative.
Yeah, I mean it's solid and good, but yeah, it's not breaking new ground, and in fact, it's kind of mining old ground. It's almost like if they'd waited an additional 10 years, I could have released it as like a retro. Oh, we got this retro sound. Of course, the guys would need to be younger for it to be technically retro.
Yeah,
because it'd just be like it's the same guys doing songs from back then. But I don't know if you can call it a retro if it's the guys who like kind of founded the genre. But anyway, yeah, I also give it a 3.5. Really good song. Really dig it. I'm digging this album overall.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised.
But we got 2 more tracks.
Hey-o.
The next one, both of them could potentially be covers. We'll see if this one is a cover of the Deep Purple song. It's called Coming Home.
I don't think so. I think that
seems unlikely.
Given this album, they're stealing riffs, titles, like
it's almost like a Thin Lizzy Iron Maiden hybrid. That dual guitar thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Another nice bass line by Nicky.
He does have a really distinct bass sound because it sounds exactly like his bass sound from the early Purple albums.
Yep. Oh, I like that. That guitar in the background. John, are you in the spreadsheet on 2 different devices?
No.
Because I'm showing your cursor on 2 different spots. It's like there's somebody spying on us.
Maybe there is.
The call is coming from inside the spreadsheet.
Well, actually, I'm out of it now. Now I'm back in. Somebody's trying to hijack the ratings.
Just mess us up. Just a reminder, if you sign up as a patron, you get access to our rating spreadsheet.
But you won't be able to fuck around in it.
No.
You can just look.
Look, but don't touch.
Looky, but no touchy.
Exactly. Really good phrasing on his solos. Like, he's doing some really cool stuff.
I like the guitar player, especially like the solos, because they come in. There's always this kind of grand entrance to the solos.
Zoom just totally cut you out.
I know.
We'll hear you on the audio podcast. I can't wait to hear what that sounded like.
Well, you saw me miming it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm telling you, we're going to drive some serious Spotify listens through this. I imagine like somebody sitting at a giant console at Spotify and just like seeing this like red light flashing. Oh my God, it's the Quatermass 2 light.
I can't believe somebody's listening to it.
They've got dozens of listens all of a sudden. What's going on?
Dozens.
They're coming from deeppurplepodcast.com. All right. Coming home. John, what do you think about that one?
That was not bad, but probably not the best that I've heard. So I'll give it 3.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. It wasn't as hooky, didn't hook me in as much. But I mean, it still had the same overall vibe. And another great solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'm pleasantly surprised by the album.
Yeah,
thus
really
far.
good energy behind all the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, on these albums, you get the impression it just, I don't know if they didn't have enough time or if it's the way it was mixed or a bunch of things, but you just get the feeling that they're phoning it in. And on this one, it feels like a band really playing together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll give this one I'll be a little more favorable, 3.5. Enjoyed this one quite a bit. And like you said, great solo, really good stuff. And then the next song could also be a cover. Is it a cover of the Lenny Kravitz song Circus?
Mm.
Well, we'll find out. It's called Circus. Oh. Sounds very familiar. Nice.
What?
I said gonna join the circus. I just wasn't expecting that as the lyrics.
No, I'm not listening to the lyrics, so I don't know.
He said something about I heard the women, and I thought he was gonna say have beards.
That would be funny.
It's weird because it's like you'd think a song called Circus would be a metaphor, but he's really talking about the circus.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Circus comes down tonight. I'm gonna see the bearded lady. A little panning wah.
Yeah. He's leaving everything. I hear they had those elephants. You could teach them to balance on a stool. The guy with the chair and the whip that fights the lion. I'm into it. I just love that he likes the circus. He loves the circus. He's excited that Barnum and Bailey is rolling into town. Wow. It's a very unusual, but still somehow rockin' album closer.
Yeah.
John, what do you think of Circus?
I'll give it a 3.
All right.
I thought it was good. I think I think you call my attention to the lyrics. That kind of took me out of it a little bit.
I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but I mean,
it kind of made me respect it even more. Like, it's just like, this guy just loves a circus.
All right.
It's nothing about it he doesn't like.
But I mean,
like when
I
all
thought
the clowns come out of the car, the 3 rings, the lion tamer.
I thought it was good. I thought I liked the panning wah wah solo.
Yes, this solo is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this is like luckily an album that's got a lot of cool songs on it.
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable, and they were actually performed well. Though the last couple of songs, I was kind of missing Don Airey.
Yeah, he
Now that
kind
I
of
think of
peaked
it.
like he kind of after a few songs came in and was in a lot of them, and then at the end of the album wasn't in it as much. But
like, I mean, maybe one of the last 2 songs that could have been like a Hammond solo or.
Yeah, it always seems weird to me to have somebody like Don Airey on your album. And don't get me wrong, he did amazing stuff in the background with synths and keys and everything, but it's like he's right there. Just throw in a Hammond solo or do some sort on even one song. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It would be nothing for him.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, can you do a Hammond solo? Yes, I can. Boom, boom. You just do it.
But I mean, this really wasn't that kind of album, but I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been out of place, I'm saying.
Because I can't imagine anything I'd more rather have him do than that. You know, it could get anybody to play background keys. Anyway, so 3.5 for me. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I like the album a lot. Quite an interesting and fun listen.
Yes.
All right. So it takes us to our next thing, which is to thank our patrons. While John busts out the spreadsheet, I will get into it and thank our next level of patrons, which of course is our foundation level patrons. Coming in at the £3.50 tier, we have none other at the Deep Purple New York level, Lord Longford. At the £3 aromatic feed tier, Simon Ford and Richard Brees. At the $3.33 halfway to evil tier, Stephen Sharp and Duncan Leask. At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, Peter Gardeau. Ian DeRosier. Mark Roback. Stuart McCord. Ivan Fjeldbu. Runar Simonsen. JJ Stenard, Ruinous Inadequacies, Corey Morissette from And the Podcast Will Rock, amongst other fine podcasts. Ashley. Weston Supermare Pilgrim, Joe Dopefish Sigler. At the $1.71 I Want My Own tier, we have
Rich Yangui Shaylor. Who the hell is that?
At the 10 kroner tier, Karsten Lau.
Cold, hard Danish kroner.
And at the $1 made-up name tier, we have the Prayer for the Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel,
Blackmore tights,
Steve Down to Earth Kohler, Zwapper the Electric Alchemist, Anders Engstrom, ICDC, Durple Purple, Purple Swede,
Swede,
and David Haddam. Thank you to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. All right, you know what time it is.
Well, John's busting out the spreadsheets, and he's fumbling with the tabs. Oops, he sorted it the wrong way. Now he can't tell what is bad.
All right, John, where did Quatermass 2 Long Road come in the standings?
So we have Quatermass 2 at a solid 6.95, the highest of the sixes in our spreadsheet.
Oh, the highest of the six. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's at the it's in the bottom third, but it's at the top. So
Is it?
I'd say it's like the best of the least best, I guess you could say. We ranked it pretty much the same. You a little bit higher than me. And it is between Gary Moore, Back on the Streets, and Rainbow, Difficult to Cure.
It's in good company.
Yes. So
Correct.
yeah, so I mean it pretty much falls where I thought it would. I didn't think it would be on the top. I thought maybe it would be a little bit higher, but I definitely knew it wasn't going to be on the bottom. I just figured it was like, okay, this is a pretty average, solid type of album. So this is going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so yeah, there we go, folks. That's Quatermass 2. I think it was a good album. What really surprised, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it would be like I mean, unfortunately, what I'm expecting from Nick Simper, I thought it was really just going to be mediocre. I mean, but I mean, even we got Don Airey in there, right? But that's, not going to save it if it's not any good, right?
Yeah.
But I think that it just even though it's good, I think it suffered from two things that we were talking about through the whole episode. Is that the style of music was a little, I guess you would say, dated for the time, even though I loved it. And the other thing was that, like you said, there was not breaking really any new ground. It was a lot of the riffs and the melodies and songs were very like obviously derivative of something else, and I think that's what keeps an album from being like going from great to just good.
Yeah, well said. And all the things I'd read about it said AOR, and I think I don't know if they just maybe didn't make it past the first song. Like, because when the first song kicked in, I was like, oh yeah, I could see this AOR, but then it kind of departs from that pretty quickly, and the rest of the album I'd say is just kind of a solid rock album.
Yeah, no, I'd give it that. I wouldn't call it AOR at all.
No, there's a couple of songs that I think could fit that bill. Maybe The Woman in Love and Prayer for the Dying. I think it starts off. It's almost like they said, hey, review this album, and they popped in the first song. I'm done with that. It's AOR. Stamp it and send out my review, you know? So this album wasn't really released on any like grand scale, so there's no obviously chart action or anything. There's a few reviews up. There's a 3-star review on allmusic.com talking about the early Quatermass, which is prog rock, and then talks about this. It says the music of Quatermass 2 is not progressive like that of its predecessor, but it's your basic commercial hard rock sound from bands as Whitesnake, Starship, Aerosmith, or many others. While not overly spectacular, this band could attract some notice from the curious who are familiar with the original Quatermass or the reputations of Underwood and Simper. And then in Darker Than Blue, in issue number 50, February 1998, they do a review. Nick Simper has been involved in a few projects recently. Quatermass 2 finally came out in Britain in December 1997. There's a bonus track on the Japanese edition. In fact, the group didn't have any extra tracks, so they used an old demo instead. There are a total of 11 tracks on the European edition written by either the band or people like John Gustafsson and Bernie Tormé. Gustafsson was original, blah, blah, blah. This is the first new offering to involve Nick Simper in over 10 years. I'm still not overly keen to review CDs on one's own label, so we send a copy to a freelancer who, as well as writing for Beat Goes On and Mojo and others, is also interested in things Purple. And this review is by Russell Newmark. Deep Purple's original bassist Nick Simper and Ian Gillan's erstwhile drummer Mick Underwood have pooled their considerable resources, and the outcome offers more than a whiff of Whitesnake at their best. Another Whitesnake reference, John. Titles like Prayer for the Dying, Good Day to Die, and Suicide Blonde do not exactly lead to the expectations of a pleasant listening experience, but don't be misled. Those three are among the highlights of an album which offers much in the way of seriously appealing quality rock. There are delightful melodic touches and the memorable hooks that linger in the brain long after the album starts playing, but that's not to say that the material is wishy-washy, just that it's not made up of mindless thrashing about. Simper's bass, so prominent on his work with Purple Mark I, is again a forceful presence, now set against the driving drums of Underwood, whose own Purple links also extend to having played with Ritchie Blackmore in The Outlaws, with Ian Gillan and Roger Glover in Episode 6. Singer Bart Foley and lead guitarist Gary Davis are more than credible cohorts, some assured vocals and fiercely wrenched guitar work gracing the scene, as Simper and Underwood readily convince you that they're not grizzled, there must be a typo, not just grizzled old veterans simply going through the motions. The guesting Don Airey's sensitively applied keyboards are the icing on the cake. One must, however, single out River, penned by former Gillan guitarist Bernie Tormé, as a real standout track, while the final cut, Circus, credited to Davis, Foley, Simper, Underwood, is a fine send-off, which ensures the standard has been maintained throughout. And then one thing on the Highway Star, Dave Hodgkinson writes about the album. The album, aptly titled Long Road, features 8 solid rock compositions with Underwood and Simper's fat rocking rhythm section backing Davis's excellent guitar work. Foley's slightly gravelly vocals top it perfectly. So, he writes, here's the tragedy. There's nothing in this album to offend. there's nothing to challenge the listener. It's all beautifully executed and produced. The slow numbers like River and Woman in Love descend with aplomb, guitar and soaring vocals above moody bass and drums. The pacier numbers zip along above a thumping rhythm section. But where are all the songs that make you go, what the F was that? Or simply, huh? So just writing that, kind of what we said, which is some solid songs, but nothing necessarily out of left field or that's going to surprise anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we got a bunch of little blurbs from the old Angel Air website that you can find on archive.com, and I'll put them in the show notes. So one of them is Terry Craven rating. This is an absolute cracker of an album and should ensure that Quatermass 2 makes more of an impact than the original band. All right.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, good stuff. It's always funny to hear these old reviews, and they kind of basically say the same stuff that we're saying. So that kind of, it's almost like lends a validity to it.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny when we mention things during the episode and then read the reviews and they mention the same things. So
yeah, and without even
validates us.
Well, with me, I mean, you at least get them together. I never see any of the reviews or anything. So when they say, oh, it's it's got a kind of a Whitesnake quality, or they're basically, that last one you read was basically saying it was good but not great, because it was, what I was saying is it was derivative, meaning that there was nothing to challenge the listener, just a different way of saying the same thing. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's pretty much what the album is putting out there. It's not, I mean, of course it's all opinion, but it just kind of makes you feel like, yeah, it's a little bit more true if more than one person is thinking it.
Yep, absolutely. So. All right, John. Well, enjoy your summer vacation. We'll hear about it on the next episode. Maybe.
Called What I Did on My Summer Vacation.
Yeah, again. The last time we did this, our opening banter ended up being like 40 minutes long, and we had to just cut it out and put it in a bonus episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So maybe that will happen again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, keep in touch, old friend. And
you as well.
Enjoy your summer, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, enjoy and I'll enjoy my my rockin' parties.
That's right. Oh, and I'll probably be in Rhode Island and probably get to see you in person before we record again. So
yeah, well, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, yeah, let me know when you're here, you dinkus.
What I do? My kids are saying that lately. What I do when they do something really stupid. I'm like, hey, and they're like, what I do? I'm like, it's the most annoying thing in the world. It's like, you know what you did, you dinkus.
They sound like they sound like a bunch of comedians.
Yeah, what I do?
Yeah. Hey, what I do? Come here, dinkus.
Exactly. All right, man. I'll check you later.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Purple Podcast. If you like what you hear and would like more episodes in the future, please donate on Patreon to support the show. You can also leave us a review in Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for show updates. See deeppurplepodcast.com for more details. Thank you for listening.